We didn't know anything, we couldn't see anything. At most, there was a soft vibration in our souls, nothing else. An apparently harmless satellite suddenly launched an incredible weapon from a star-spangled sky that none of us had ever seen before. A laser shot unseen to Earth, devouring the air around it. Into this vacuum, a particle beam of hydrogen atoms was fired. Unnoticed by the insignificant inhabitants of Aqua, the particle beam triggered a small charge of 2 kilograms of explosive. The tiny explosion propagated itself along the Juan de Fuca and Cocos continental plates, triggering further charges. The explosions remained unseen, but our seismographs began to detect the effect. The resonance charges took their toll, splitting the Earth's crust at its most vulnerable points. As Charlie Gilmore explained to me later, the satellite was a military artifact of the 21st century. With it, earthquakes and volcanoes could be triggered from space, destroying whole civilizations without waging war. Her best guess was that terrorists had hacked into and reprogrammed an American military satellite with offensive and surveillance capabilities. The Earth split open, vomiting boiling magma into the icy and lifeless oceans and stirring the fiery bellies of volcanoes around the planet. Seabeds fell away, revealing new depths, abysses, and seas beneath seas. The Earth had been gut-shot and her insides were bleeding out. For the inhabitants of Aqua, terror had a whole new meaning. El Topo contacted me and said his warning system showed an armada of crawlers and Sewell's cutthroats making their way to Neopolis. Sewell's allies were already causing riots in the city. Whether it was planned or not, the result was clear. Brainfire had created total chaos. We heard strange reports about poisonous nettle creatures and calmar-like beings haunting the outskirts of Neopolis. King was burning with rage. He had a score to settle with Sewell and Mad Sam for showing him up. He was the mightiest warlord of the Tornado Zone, and he was gonna make them pay. Shaka, my wings, and I docked with the Creole girl, then King picked up speed toward Neopolis. Commander Forelli, who was responsible for city security, was informed we were on our way, and was grateful for any help he could get. Charlie Gilmore disappeared into her data bank and began to search through odd ancient documents and manuscripts. The seas around Neopolis seemed calm, but I knew that our enemies were out there and ready to fight. I could feel our lives getting cheaper by the minute.
Flint, I'm terribly sorry about, well, what happened to Admiral Cox. We were so stupid. Cox was right to try to stop the idiotic ideas of the new line.
Yeah, well, it's hard to kill an idea, and Corhonen and Sewell have similar ideals. For them, it's simple. A lot of power, a lot of money, and the realization of their own insanity. Racism as compensation for their own imperfections.
Oh, to hell with it. It's too late for the Admiral. But Sewell and Mad Sam are still metabolizing. And that's something we can fix. What are you hearing about those monsters? The Squids?
I don't know. Everyone's in a panic, but nobody knows if they even exist. Hang on, Flint. The Brewmeister just sent me a message that Deep Draft 2 is being besieged by the Magma Eater. The crawlers are getting ready to terrorize Neopolis.
You ready, Harper?
Adrenaline flowing, sir. But who's picking up the tank?
Don't worry about that. I have a bit of money put away, and I'm more than willing to pay for my livelihood. I'll be waiting here for your return.
Jumbo, Radiant Man, what do you feel?
To be honest, as lonely. As a child, I remember being told about this legendary museum.
I can't find anything about my origins. Not a single piece of Africa, or the dugong.
From what I understand, during the Great Descent, Africa had little chance to save its inhabitants in deep-sea dwellings.
Yeah. The origin of mankind lies in Africa.
Well, Princess, I'm just glad you're here now.
Well, Sonny, are you looking for something special?
Yeah, peace, quiet, a new ship, and a load of credits.
You are surrounded by the bones of dozens of surface dwellers, including kings, popes, and presidents.
What the hell am I gonna do with a bunch of old bones?
Think about it. Where will your bones come to rest one day?
In the Atacama City Incinerator.
I think you're missing my point. Anyway, you're one of the mercenaries, right? I hear you're having a hard time of it, but I hope the museum won't suffer any damage. I know, it's a crazy world. Good luck to you and your bones.
Light, sir. Do you have a reservation?
No, but I'm hungry as hell.
Today's special is 9-eye pulp in a foam of nitric oxide, served a la mode of the old ones. We also have a limb of cultured meat, served with seaweed salad.
Man, I'm fighting for my life out there, and you're trying to kill me in here. Can't I just get a plate of mussels without all this crap?
Mussels? Indeed not, sir. But as to shark, we do have shark sphincters in a sauté, which is a rare delicacy from the Clans Union.
Flint, you want to be in the middle of this horror as much as I do, right?
How are you, Chang? I can't believe Entrox can spare you.
They can manage without me for a while. I'm here in Neopolis because I can't keep my torpedoes in their tubes any longer. Like I said, I'm a trained battle pilot, and I'm itching to get in on some of the action.
Glad to have you. We need everyone we can get. And don't worry, there's plenty of action around Neopolis with those damn squids on the move.
I hear Sewell and Mad Sam are around as well. What do you say we put on our armor and spur our steeds?
You must have been talking to Charlie Gilmore. And what the hell is a steed?
I think I'm about to crack up. I was in Atacama City a while ago and they had an earthquake alert. So I left and came to Neopolis, figuring I'd be safe here because the city is so well managed.
And instead you get monsters, terrorist gangs, freaked out ex-military officers, civil war, death, and ruin.
Yeah, I think I'll quit taking holidays and just go back to the Argentine basin. Nothing ever happens there, but maybe that's not such a bad thing.
We should take advantage of the current to sneak up on deep draft. No engine noise. We should go to navigation point 1 now. Let's go to navigation point 2, Flint. Now we're going to navigation point 3.
Target's flying, you guys! By the tail of a mermaid, this is getting dangerous. These barbarians are whirling around like a school of killer herring. We must not lose deep draft.
Now we should look for navigation point 4.
vital values on the scanners. Like something alive coming toward us.
Poseidon himself has seen fit to save us. The magma eater is being savaged by sea monsters. That's fine with me, except they look like they might be even more dangerous than Corona.
Hunch, I'm the head of operations, and I say the magma eater is still top priority.
Don't listen to damn military order. Attack the devil's breed. You don't have to defend the magma eater with your lives. Just attack the crawlers and those damn octopuses at the same time.
Attack the marked target now.
Target destroyed.
Target destroyed! Yeah! Target destroyed!
The hell with it, baby! I'm gonna aim at the magma eater. You can take care of ugly up to safely. Yeah! That was headed for the bottom.
Target destroyed! Attack the marked target now.
Yeah! That one's headed for the bottom.
Yeah! Target destroyed!
Damn it! Lisa's right. These beasts have a new kind of weapon. Some kind of energy hours.
Hey! Stay on the defensive for a while! Doesn't matter who comes out on top! We just want to make sure we're around to show the winners who's really the boss! Target destroyed. Attack the marked target now. Attack the marked target now.
Target destroyed.
Target destroyed! Affected biological signatures of this high energy. Apparently, they always orient themselves to the strongest energy field in the area. Magma Eater is activating the power plants.
Target destroyed. Target slashed, you guys. Hey, what the? The magma eater has cleared off. Damn.
Hey, Flint, can you blow away the remaining crawlers? And what the hell are those slimy things? My Poseidon ordered bullets.
Flint, we've done in all the bad guys. The comfort of our own home is waiting for us.
Honky Tom! Deadeye! Let me give you a big hug. You saved Deep Drive 2, and from Pence, and I am eternally grateful.
I should hope so. However, instead of embracing me, how about you pour me a glass of Dopa-Cola?
That's disgusting stuff. You should knock back a hangman's blood.
I'd sooner give a Lyopleurodon a hug. Well, maybe just a small glass.
Honky Tom, you're a man. Hey, speaking of which, I met a strange guy, a kind of priest. He's hanging out in front of the museum, blabbering on about giant-ish gods. Is he talking about slime creatures out there? Disgusting.
I don't know, but I'll find out. Thanks, Brewmeister.
No, thank you, Flint. And when it's all over, bring your pals by and it'll be drinks on the house.
Thank you, Deadeye. Have you heard? The Squids are closing in. You arrived on the Creole Girl, right? They're gonna have plenty of trouble with those squids.
So, monsters aren't enough. There also have to be a bunch of puss-eating crawlers led by a charismatic idiot and a freaked-out, power-hungry ex-military officer lusting for a freaking satellite. Punch, old buddy, I don't even know where to begin.
Well, I'm not a strategist, but it seems to me if you just start shooting, you're bound to hit something that deserves it.
I think I'll answer this call on my beeper first. Time to talk to Commander Forelli at the Federation Hall.
Flight Commander, the situation here is a mess. Speaking of which, I just met that cute professor and her mass of hair.
That'd be Charlotte Gilmore.
Yeah. She thinks these squids, what she calls the old ones, have a kind of smaller observers, like scouts. We need to stay on the alert, with a finger on the trigger.
Thanks, Lisa. And hey, if we get out of this mess, I'm gonna buy you a dinner.
Wow. The boss as a human being. I remind you of your promise, Flint.
What's new, Commander?
We've got an army of squids of all sizes on our radar. The first wave has already arrived, and Ivan King is requesting reinforcements. What's your read on this, Professor Gilmore?
My fear is that the old ones are heading for the part of Aqua that emits the most energy, Neopolis. Parts of their bodies are based on silicon instead of carbon, and that's why they need pressure and heat to keep those long-chain silicon molecules stable.
Well, whatever the reason, Lady Prof, this is big trouble.
That's not all. Don't forget Mad Sam and his killer gang. Commodore Sewell, ex-Commodore Sewell, has a deadly ally in him. They're causing panic in Neopolis.
The devil shows his hand, and the armies of the night converge on Neopolis.
I didn't know you were a poet, Flint.
You bet, sweetheart, as long as I don't have to rhyme. The night is in and around us.
Then I suggest we fight for a few rays of sunlight.
So, the military leader of Neopolis is also a bard. Well said.
So far, it seems as if the crawlers have a new strategy. They've split up and are marauding near Neopolis. Their flagship, the Magma Eater, seems to be firing indiscriminately. But there have been some water intrusions, and we have had a number of fatalities.
Flint, paralyze the Magma Eater, but don't destroy it. Once you've got her dead in the water, get hold of the new weapon they're carrying. It's some kind of energy weapon, a scalar howitzer.
Look at this strange edifice. Memories of past centuries rest here. It's like an enormous brain, where oblivion slowly closes in.
I heard you know something about the Squids.
Squids? You gasbag. They are gods. Old, mighty, furious gods. Their leader, the great and glorious Typheus, will soon appear.
Hey, put a cork in it, okay? Do you have anything useful to say or not? What about these small, gods? The Shaks?
They are heralds and constant companions. They are guided by leaders known as head Shaks, who guide the armies of Typheus with their powerful minds.
All hell's breaking loose, Flint. I'm scanning 3 battlefields. At Navy headquarters, at the Parliament, and at the main data broadcaster.
Jumbo, Flint, I'm close to the data broadcaster right now. You can support the Atlantas at the Navy headquarters. Flint, we need you and your team at Navy headquarters. Hurry up, and don't get distracted by targets of opportunity.
We should go to navigation point 1 now.
tubes glow. Ivan King. I can't do anything with the Creo girl, but Sergei Chang is on his way from Entrux with ships that can lend support.
Chang here. I can hold the data broadcaster with my men. Redeploy other units when needed.
Flint, you must head for the Parliament immediately. The situation there is precarious, and the crawler formations are getting stronger.
Let's go to navigation point 2.
priority when it arrives. That's your only responsibility. We must get aboard that ship. Target slash impact!
Yeah! Target destroyed!
Target slash impact!
Target destroyed! Yeah! Target destroyed!
Flint, the tech bomber has just arrived. I've ordered your wingmen to provide protection, and you should do the same. Next destination, navigation point 7. Everything okay? The tech bomber is docked at the magma eater. They're going in.
Yeah! Target destroyed! Yeah! Target destroyed!
Target destroyed.
Tech bomber is ready. Let's make sure it can leave the area without damage.
Target slash impact! Flint! The Creole girl is hunted! We need help! The damn squids think we look like filet! Flint, take a look at the data broadcaster. We're getting reports of biots in the area.
Check that out. It almost looks like the biots are on our side, the way they're going after the squids. I'd say it's the last chance for the Creole girl. King, try to break through to the data broadcaster. We're going there to give you a hand. Let's go to navigation point 6.
Who would have ever thought? One day I'd owe my life to the biots.
Yeah! Target destroyed!
Target destroyed.
Federation Hall.
Damn it, that one really hurt.
Nice place you have here, if you've given up on life.
Hang on, stranger. You'll long to return here one day. They all do. I'm McGrath.
McGrath, your Aquarian tsunami booster is legendary. But desperate times call for desperate beverages. We're surrounded by cave dwellers, massive monsters, and politicians run amok. What can you give me to take the edge off?
The perfect drink would bring the brain to a standstill and keep it idling indefinitely. Let me think.
The end of the world is knocking at the door. Hurry up.
I've got it. This clear liquid is a gland secretion from the Vampirotoithus infernalis, the vampire squid, which lives in the hot vents in the Pacific. If I add just a few drops of scopolamine, your consciousness will bounce, then drift into a trance full of dreams. McGrath's oasis of the foaming peace awaits.
Asante-sama, thank you again that I was allowed to fight with the Radiant Man.
You were quite charming, Princess. How about the two of us go a few rounds in a different kind of fight?
Good grief, Flint. If testosterone was absorbent, you could dry up the whole Pacific.
Well, I suppose we should thank God you weren't in a duel of wits. But still, you did give it your best, and you have my eternal thanks. You may also be interested to know that there have been some startling developments.
What the hell hasn't been startling? Hell, if you can top that last battle, you win a prize.
We have a new ally. They have the cold heart of a politician, the dark soul of an advertising executive, and they're as black as a miner's lungs. I'm speaking, of course, of the Bions. Ta-da!
Bunch of crap. What?
Take a look at the main screen. 3 days ago, the Bions made contact with us. It was a computer voice, no human modulation. Ghost-like, monotonous. They recognized the enormous threat to Aqua from the Old Ones and offered us their help. As a concession, they wanted a ceasefire so they could operate without opposition on the expectant battlefield near Neopolis.
Well, I don't trust those brain-connected beasts at all. The government of Neopolis is crazy.
We've talked it over with El Topo, and he thinks we ought to at least give it a try. We're not in any position to reject an alliance, and if it proves to be a trap, we've still got you.
Well, you know what I think? I think we're making a disastrous mistake. Not a whoops mistake, like when you shoot the wrong guy, but the kind of mistake that could mean the end of Aqua.
Flint, that's not the only news. A few weeks ago, I had the chance to explore the caverns of the continental slope on my own. The analysis of the data I collected revealed what these monsters are and where they're coming from.
Professor Charlotte Gilmore was a fascinating woman. She had researched the continental slopes of the tornado zone in her explorer ship, Nunnet, and now presented us with the results. She showed us the entrance to a world of caves where a 500-year-old culture of technology and terror lurked. It was the world of the crawlers. The legends of the tornado zone spoke harshly about the crawlers. It was said they lived without light, using biological and chip implants, turning themselves into hideous patchwork fiends. They attacked stations, travelers, cargo ships, always leaving destruction in their wake, but no trace of victims on the battlefield. That gave credence to the legend that the crawlers were cannibals. Revolting and dangerous man-eaters wallowing in sediment. Gilmore had more guts than all of us put together. Alone, she'd explored the caves and tunnels of the crawler's world, pushing deep into the Earth's core. She showed us the way into that hell, and we could hear the screams of tortured victims reverberating with the grunts of their tormentors. When I saw the pictures, I had only one reaction. I wanted wanted to see the crawlers dead, their colony of darkness and ruins, their grotesque forms spasming in a boiling and bloody sea. I wanted to look in the eye of their boss devil, Mad Sam Cahonen, and show him the darkest part of Deadeye Flint's soul. Gilmore's pictures became even eerier and more disturbing. It was like a dream filled with magic, fear, loneliness, and desperate need. I had never felt as abandoned as I felt there, deep in the Earth's mantle, surrounded by the most horrible blackness. Imprisoned, blind, deaf, and forgotten. From the remains we were looking at, the ancient civilization clearly had not lived underwater. Those caves had been dry as a bone right up until the South Pole melted. Gilmore claimed she was on the trail of a civilization that had ruled the surface 12,000 years ago. She believed they had retreated deeper and deeper into the crevices of the earth, but she didn't know why. They took their energy from a mysterious source of inexhaustible power, she said, and they must have come into contact with powerful intraterrestrial beings. The Atlantides, as Gilmore called them, lived in worship of their monstrous gods, called Old Ones in the most ancient of the surviving manuscripts. But the gods they worshipped were devils, and their worship led to the rule of torment and fear. At some point, the Atlantides managed to lure their monstrous gods into the gigantic subterranean caves, turning them into prisons. The legendary city of Bathopolis was said to lie down there, at the edge of the deepest point on the planet. Gilmore, sweet and crazy Charlotte, said we would find the entrance to the inner Earth of the Atlantides there. This inner world was said to be a giant hollow sphere with its own sun, a fairy tale paradise even more beautiful than the surface world of old. Me, I had an absolute belief that the core of the Earth was full of fluid metals, its massive nickel-iron nucleus powering the good old dynamo we call the magnetic field.
Once again, our paths cross, and you move closer to your destiny. All of you, we're going to overrun you, like the breath of a demon, like black angels of fatal decay. Your ridiculous houses, your pale children, your fragile bones. Everything will belong to us. Oh no, maybe I've already taken your mother. And now you have a little brother. What's that you say? Your mother will have us. Yes, we are the pure essence of Aqua. Beyond tolerance, beyond mourning. We are our own destiny.
Do you write your own material?
The aim of our efforts is to introduce the development of a dark destiny. In the end, there will be free seamen with powerful minds and strong bodies, and they will never see Aqua as a prison again.
Cahonen, you're just another criminal headed for a judge.
You want to be my judge? Well, watch me spreading my arms over Neopolis. Apart from that, it's all just fun, isn't it? Oh, before I forget, my friend Commodore Sue is waiting for you in Concordia Place. He's a rationalist, and he believes he can persuade you with reason.
Damn it! What we gonna do if the squids keep getting bigger and fatter?
Calm down. Your dopamine production is getting the better of you again. We need a strategy, and I can't think of anybody I'd rather consult than Gilmore. Her tactical suggestions during battle are well thought out, and she knows the squids better than anyone.
Oh, the hell with this! Is she gonna hold on to that Marax monster so we can beat the crap out of it? Word is, Sosa's listeners located a beast even meaner than that one. Heading directly for Neopolis.
So, visiting the city of shining light and dark corruption again?
You know, I wouldn't bet on how much longer that light is going to be shining.
Why? Somebody forget to pay the bill?
They're coming. The Squids are moving on Neopolis, the center of Aquarian civilization. They're being attracted by the wide variety of food, by energy signatures, and by a thirst for revenge.
It's not only the Squids who want a vacation here. Have you heard about Mad Sam?
Yeah, he and Sewell are going to use the chaos to try to seize power.
You're definitely not my new assistant. What do you want?
Lady, it sure took you long enough to figure that out. I'm Flint, and I'm talking to you because scientists from Machina always have important information at times like these.
What kind of information? You mean about the Squids? All I've heard is something about a sonar dome, but I'm sure you know about that already.
What do you mean, a sonar dome? Come on, spill the sardines. Any scrap of information may just save what we like to think of as the civilized world.
I think you're a cynic. Anyway, if you want to keep the beasts from being able to locate anything, including you, take out their sonar organ. It's a dome-shaped feature on the front of their heads.
From one madman to the next.
Don't compare me to Mad Sam Carhonen. His brain liquefied years ago.
Sure, your motives are all noble and pure. If you're the voice of reason, we'll all be heating our homes with coal next. Why shouldn't I just kill you right here and now?
Because of the men I have concealed here. Their microwave guns are focused on you at this moment. And your brain has already been warmed by 0.2 of a degree. If you try anything, you will be cooked alive.
Okay, then why don't you kill me and be done with it?
Because I need you to eliminate Carhonen. I have already recruited an excellent team of scientists from his ranks, so I have no further need of him. In contrast to his stupid theories of eternal night, I tend more toward the light and the surface. The only thing we really need is an efficient species of workers.
And you're the man to breed a race of slaves, huh?
Let's talk about you, Flint. You're a very efficient man. Join with me, and we'll step on the surface together. We will control the numerous satellites that still exist. And he who controls the skies controls the world.
You're insane, Sewell. Your ship against mine.
Mad Sam is attacking the main fusion power plant with his Tursas and crawlers. If they take it, they own our energy resources.
All right, I've had enough of this. Time to send the bad boys to hell.
Don't just charge in guns blazing, Flint. Be smart. And for God's sake, be careful. If you make it, meet me on Deep Draft 1. We've got problems there, too. Oh, I think you should talk to that nice girl, Lisa. She's waiting for you at Concordia Place.
Light, Lisa. Imagine that. Commander Forelli thinks you're a nice girl.
He's never seen me when I wake up in the morning.
Listen, kid, to be completely honest, I'm a little worried.
About Mad Sam and Sewell?
Yeah, them and the Squids. I got a little discourse from Charlie Gilmore, and she said that 10,000 years ago the Squids were treated as gods, but feared like devils.
Kind of like the way everybody treats you. Huh, Flint?
Lisa, I wasn't kidding about that dinner. I'd like to get to know you a little better.
Well, the first thing you should know is that I carry a needle gun with me for protection. Besides, what would Mom say?
DeGrange? Yeah, she loves you like her own daughter.
Exactly. She'd never let a brackish barracuda like you get near me. But that doesn't mean we can't sneak away sometime.
Why didn't I think of that? Lisa, I'm glad you're around.
Power plant management reports fluctuations at the fusion center. The gravitation chamber is overloaded. The hull could collapse.
Flint, see to it that the crawlers are driven away from the power plant. It must not fall into their hands. And see to the Tursas personally.
Power plant management requests help. The crawlers are trying to take over the gravitation control centers. The power plant management is sending an SOS. 2 out of 4 gravitation control centers have already been taken over by the crawlers.
Mad Sam tampered with the gravitation control centers. Flint, if you chase the ships away, I think I can undo the damage. But I need you to back me up. Attention! The power plant is leaking radiation.
Follow the marked object.
Target destroyed.
Gilmore here. The squids are attracted by the radiation leak in the porous hull of the fusion chamber. I think they'll change course and head that way.
You must defend the power plant against the squids. We can't afford a power failure right now. Neopolis would perish in the chaos. Some power plants that were taken out of service are being brought back online. So forget about the crawlers and let Corhonen go if you need to. Target slash midnight! Target
floating eminences first. They're the brains, then think for the others. If you destroy them, you'll significantly weaken the rest of the Shack's collective. That big one is a Crocell, a mighty duke of the inner earth. Try to destroy the sonar dome at the front of his head. You won't be able to track you like that. And if you shoot flashpoints, he'll be more vulnerable to attack.
Target slash midnight!
Just caught something from Mad Sam. He's encouraging his guys to start Operation Present. Looks like an attack on the fusion power plant.
Flint, I'll take her on it. You finish out that beast.
I can simply hurt Flint the most by destroying his friends. Can you hear me, Flint? This is your moment of reckoning.
Flint! It doesn't look like we're going to get to have that dinner. At least Mom won't need to worry anymore.
Oh, Flint! Seems like I ruined your so sorry about that, Mr. Deadeye. You regurgitated afterbirth of a mutated shark? I'm gonna kick your butt and spread your guts all over Biscayne!
Damn it, Flint. We've got to get this guy. Even if Harper doesn't want to hear it, I ordered him to keep the fish away from us. It is our job to send Soul to hell once and for all.
Flint, I'm really sorry about Lisa, but the bomb at the power plant still has priority. Forget Cojonen, or there isn't going to be anything to remember. All right, we'll take it. Good job.
I'm sorry about Lisa. I want you to know that we will take care of her family.
Who has family? Oh, I got to cool out. Sul is dead, and I still hate that rat.
Your hatred will make it difficult for Lisa to go into the other world. Let go.
We have to take care of ourselves now, Flint. Mad Sam was sighted in Neopolis. My men still think that he wants to sabotage the fusion power plant, in spite of everything. That monster won't give up.
There won't be any surrenders in this one, Forelli.
Hey, Deadeye! Thanks for turning Fool into settlement. He would have become too dangerous for me soon enough. Besides, having that guy around was a real pain in the butt.
Where are you? How about we settle this like men? Or don't you have it in you?
That cool girl. That must have really hurt. You idiots tie yourself to other people. How degenerate your brains must be to pursue such sick feelings as friendship.
You'll get a better understanding of how my brain works when I have you in front of my guns.
I'll turn your power plant into scrap long before you get the chance, Flint.
You look a little worried.
I am. We brought the Creole girl over because Sul and Mad Sam were threatening Atacama City. Now I'm fighting the Battle of Neopolis, and I'm ruined as the warlord of the Tornado Zone.
Stop whining. You got more respect now than you ever had. Sul stole Brainfire and caused this mess, and that's why we're all here. To save the honor of the Tornado Zone.
I guess it's not so bad when you look at it like that. How are you doing?
I've lost some friends. The Admiral, Lisa. Night in Aqua is getting darker.
A toast to Lisa. I'll bet our little pepper pot is making things hot for the devil himself right now.
To Lisa.
I've lost pals before. Back at Gibraltar. By kiss of the Leviathan's butt. Sometimes, I feel like drinking a toast to every last one of them. Then, I end up drunk for a fortnight.
So now what, Flint?
Who knows? Corhonen. I'll find him and kill him. His army is finished.
I want to be by your side, then, Simba. I want to see his guts floating in the flood.
Yeah? Well, the hell with that. Is it going to bring in any credits? If you want to poison your own soul, go ahead. But I'll take money. Calms me down.
You know, if Sul had succeeded with his madness, he would have had control over a number of satellites. He could have destroyed all of Aqua.
Aqua. Find the plug and let it swirl down with the rest of the sewage.
Blockhead, what are we gonna do now?
Corhonen's threatening to destroy the fusion plant. I think I know an invitation to a duel when I hear one.
Well, that calls for another round. Just don't forget those damn squids. According to the old manuscripts, there's more than we've seen.
Big deal. Bring on the old ones. We'll turn them into jelly.
I'd rather have about 5 weeks vacation on the Mali Archipelago. Broads, drinks, and a few wonderful hours on the dream circuit.
How about you, Professor? What's your dream?
Ethopolis, the deep city. Deep under the sediment. Deeper than we've ever gone. One day, I'm gonna solve the entire secret of those caverns off Atacama.
The Earth doesn't return what she's taken, Lady Prof. But I love you anyway. Guide me to my enemies. And Shaka, with you by my side, I'll fight into the jaws of hell without fear. To friendship.
To friendship.
I was right, Flint. Corhonen is still hanging around at the power plant. The evacuation of the neighboring stations is going slowly, and we're getting reports of more squid attacks. There are still more coming. I've gathered. An attack may be imminent, so stay sharp.
What's up, Flint? You afraid of the dark? To hell with it, Flint! Do that mackerel brain in, and we'll take care of the rest of his rotten crew.
Commander Forelli, my master won't tolerate this. Flint's gonna shut Corhonen down.
I knew you were nothing but a dirty coward, Flint! I'll take your time. If you need support, it's all right by me. To Grange, for example. I think she'll be more fun than Bonham.
I hope you don't expect me to warn him.
Ah! What a devil is that? Ah! I'm not dead yet, Flint. I'll be back!
Flint, I'm getting an image through your external camera. That's Fornius, one of the biggest, most fearsome beasts. If you want my professional advice, get the hell out of there.
Flint, I'm receiving energy signatures from inside the monster. Looks like Mad Sam is tickling his ribs. He's trying to shoot his way out.
Get some distance between you and Fornius, Flint. I don't know how fast that squid is, but he's madder than hell. Flint, let's pay our respects to the ancient god. We owe him a fight. Flint! First go for the sonar dome in the front. If that's knocked out, he might not be able to locate the power plant anymore. That could give us time to evacuate.
Evacuation of the fusion plant has commenced, and King is protecting the rescue transports. Almost all of the squids have arrived at the power station, so we could use some help making sure all the transports reach the evacuation point in time. Flint, we can't lose more than 2 transports, or the evacuation will be at risk. Protect the transports. Their strong energy signatures are going to be extremely attractive to the squids.
Remember the flash pops in the sonar domes. Blind the monsters and leave the defenses by targeting those points. Attack the head jacks first. That'll weaken the others in pause.
Yeah! That one's headed for the water.
like you won't be able to kill it with your weapons. There's only one chance, and that's blowing up the fusion power plant. Flint, 2 of the gravitation control devices are still working. Destroy them, and you'll see your first sunrise. Literally. Everybody open fire!
The central fusion plant in Neopolis was our last hope. After my wings and I fiddled around at the control centers of the gravity core, I took a moment to get my head together. At the central plant, the fusion reaction transforming heavy hydrogen into helium wasn't triggered by laser, but by a form of plasma or condensate derived from artificial black holes smaller in size than atomic nuclei. If we upset the balance between the fusion energy and gravity, there would be a supernova that would end our squid problems in one shot. The scientists of Misc I Antarctica said that heat and gravity were essential for replicating the silicon molecules that formed parts of the squid's bodies. As a result, the monsters were always instinctively looking for energy centers to help replenish their cells. Everything went like clockwork. In a moment, the dark night of Aqua would become as bright as a sun. We knew of the sun only from physics lessons and films in school, and old tales told 1,000 times. But everyone talked of its power. None had ever seen it, but everyone talked of it. This sun was a star of hell and message from another world. I stared into it as the gravity kernel of the power plant imploded into a neutron ball and sank to the center of the Earth. The shockwave of the explosion rippled in every direction. Gilmore later told me that parts of the power plant left the ocean, the atmosphere, and the gravity of Earth, and were now in orbit like the mischievous satellite that had been activated by brain fire. The monstrous Fornius, the creature from within whose belly Mad Sam Cahonen had waged his hopeless fight for freedom, was dead. As the hours passed and the seas calmed, we took a look around. Everything was quiet, just as it was supposed to be. The deep ocean was silent. DeGrange, Pico, and Harper drove their bad memories away in Brewmeister's dive, while Shaka, Gilmore, and I kept watch on the scene of devastation. Everything around me was calm, but my emotions were still simmering over a low flame. Lisa's smiling face passed in my mind, Shaka's words still echoed in my ears, and Gilmore's eyes pierced my heart. There wasn't enough room in hell for Mad Sam and his malicious host. Still more dead than alive, the power of the Fornius was easily enough to destroy us all. I ordered Shaka and Gilmore to get lost as we began to harass him, but I knew they wouldn't listen. Just when we were about to bite the sediment, all of our instruments died, as if to spite us. Then a shadow pressed out of the gloom, and I recognized it. A shadow I had often encountered before. EMP. It flashed across my mind like a razor. An electromagnetic pulse weapon had killed our instruments. I saw the Bion shadow melding into the body and soul of the mightiest of the old ones. Saw it absorbing his very being and power, assimilating the hatred in his 1,000-year-old murderous soul. I could see that the Bion ship in front of me was not a scrap heap. That meant that the Bionts back at their stronghold, the Servian, hadn't been annihilated, and they were already regaining their strength. Charlotte Gilmore and Shaka became great friends and whispered together for days about me. Nothing could protect me from two women of their caliber. Whenever I saw them, they would glance at each other, then grin like schoolgirls. It was a curse I would just have to bear. We sat in the control center of Brainfire, the research vessel that had been the start of all our trouble. Somewhere in Neopolis, Ivan King and the crew of the Creole Girl celebrated being alive. Meanwhile, Brainfire made contact with the optical system of the Milstar satellite, and for the first time we could see the Earth, hovering in space as it had for billions of years. I felt strangely tense, seeing our prison from the outside, its liquid walls of unknown blue. It was beautiful. Weird, something metallic caught my eye, and with a word the camera zoomed in. Structures, and something recognizable in silvery gray. The camera moved in tighter, and I could make out small flashing lines along the coast. What the hell was it? The satellite moved on to the south. Clouds still remained from the huge explosion 5 years ago, when the stronghold, the Servian, had been destroyed. Zoom in. The Servian. The Bionts. The destruction of their stronghold 5 years ago had only been a small hitch in the system. They had built a massive reproduction plant on the continent, developing their own biotechnological civilization, and they had done it with phenomenal speed. Somewhere below, the Biont unit that had assimilated Fornius would arrive, and all the data and features, whether those of the Squids or Mad Sam, would be adapted to the technogenetic code of a species that wanted to exterminate us from our own planet. The clouds closed in, impenetrable. Nobody said a word. Someone swallowed hard. Earth was a paradise, effortless, floating, full of light. A man could breathe clean air there and move free in the warm sun. One day, it would be ours again.